What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Fantastic Duo Show on our brand new time slot here every single Tuesday at 12 noon. I am flanked here by my boy, my friend, and co-host of the Fantastic Duo Show, former Red and Blue Ranger, Steve Cardenas.
What's up? What's up, Twitches? How y'all doing? Konnichiwa, Twitches. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining us today. I know we're doing it this new time now, but we appreciate you hanging in there and supporting us and everything like that. So, Alex, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing really well, man. I'm happy to have you here again. I know that the time zone things. The time zone thing is finally fixed. You're here, you're with us, and it's not super late over there, which is really exciting. Want to share some news with you. The Twitch channel is doing extremely well. We're up to 630 followers and over 320 subscribers. That's a 50-50 split. If you look at it, half of our followers are subscribers. We're really close to being partnered here on Twitch, so you guys continue to come on here and show some love and throw some emotes on the chat. But yeah, man, we got a pretty good show packed for today, don't we?
Yeah. So we've got my buddy on, and so like when I first started doing cons, like on the regular, like I would sometimes do like maybe one or two conventions a year or whatever. But back in 2013. One of the first big cons that I did when I started doing the tour, where I was like doing it every weekend and stuff, was Alamo City Comic Con, which is in San Antonio, Texas, was my hometown. I was at that convention, and we were at one of the hotel after parties, and I met this guy. And he was like telling me, oh, you need to get onto Instagram. He's like, you need to do, you got to do this. It's like, you're going to start doing this touring. You've got to really boost up your social media and stuff. So he basically like kind of showed me the Comic-Con ropes, you know what I mean, so to speak. And so this guy, he's done like as many cons as I have in a sense. We have a lot of the same friends and acquaintances and contacts and all that stuff like that. So anyway, really good guy, former wrestler, now hosts a huge podcast talk show called Grindhouse Radio. So I think we should bring him on right now, Alex.
Let's do it.
First time. We've got my main man, Brimstone.
What's going on, people? Hey, finally, Brimstone has made it to the Fantastic Duo Show. I am so excited to be here. I'm seeing your smiling face, Steve. That makes me so happy. As people who do know, the both of us and our relationship over the years, they know that you're one of my best friends in the biz, and I love you dearly. And,
absolutely.
What do you call it? And apparently, Alex he said to me earlier, he goes, I've been following you for so long. And what's really funny is I heard you mention about how the Instagram and so forth. Meanwhile, you were the one who your Instagram blew up like this when you finally went on and started doing a lot of it. And then you're the one who helped me build my Instagram back up. What do you call it? Which was awesome. So what do you call it? So you get more credit for that than
well, no, not at all.
You any tips.
We all help each other up by the bootstraps. Man. That's how we all get ahead together, man.
That's crazy. But yeah, no, so it's nice to finally be here. What do you call it? I know that you were telling me about how great the show is, and you were so excited to be doing this, and what do you call it? And it's an honor and a privilege, and it's just always nice to breathe the same air, you know what I mean? So even though it's COVID right now, but we could still breathe the same air, separate.
Yeah, we'll just wear one of the Brimstone masks.
That's what I'm talking about.
Brimstone has his own like brand of like all kinds of stuff, and we're going to talk about a bunch of that today. One of them though that he has is his Brimstone mask. Maybe we can take a look at that. Let's see that real quick.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Damn, whoever did that emote is nice.
Yeah, that's Playful Gorilla on Instagram. He's pretty awesome.
Nice. That looks nice.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. And but I mean, it doesn't stop there, Alex. I mean, Brimstone's got his own like spices, his own hot sauce. He's got his own comic book. He's got like all kinds of stuff. What else? I mean, what else am I missing that you have like of your own?
Yeah,
you got your own clothing line, backpacks, everything.
I've done a little bit of everything. As I've always said, I always want to put my hands in every cookie jar possible, as long as I enjoy it. If I want to do something, I want to do it. I don't want to let anybody tell me you can't do this, you can't do that. I want to get involved in stuff. I want to enjoy, living, and the sauce and seasoning thing was one of those situations where it's like, hey, I love to eat, obviously way too much because I'm a little overweight. But that being said, I have a very specific palate, and I knew that sauces and seasonings would be a really cool addition to everything I did. And at the time, I was doing Food Hound Tidbits, which was the what do you call it, the foodie series, while we were doing the touring. And again, everything kind of loops into one another. So like I started doing touring again because of the comic book, and the comic book, because I wanted to retire from wrestling, and so it's like an ongoing thing. But yeah, no, I have the sauce and seasoning. I have my coffee line. I have candy. I had chocolate bars. Sweet
Wow.
Hollywood closed down, though. Did you see that, Steve?
Oh yeah, because I remember when you came to LA one time, and we went to Hollywood together, and Sweet Hollywood, which is over there on Hollywood Boulevard, candy shop. You can create your own candy bars there, and you had created your own candy bar there as well.
Yeah.
Well,
and they put it on the market. They had it there. They sold it for the last like however long, like 5-6 years. So it was they actually had it there. It was pretty awesome, and and it sold well. So I made some good money off of that. That was an awesome thing. Toy lines. We got some new toys coming out. Just so many different things. But again, it's one of those situations where if you want to do it, do it. You know what I mean? And I try to get involved in things that I enjoy. What do you call it? I just put out a new book called Brimisms. So all the time, like I'll put up quotes and and just like
give us some Brimisms
to motivate
people.
Just motivating and inspirational type of things. And just so I put together a book, and what do you call it, I put it out there. It's all stuff that you can see that I've already put out on Insta or Twitter or Facebook, but it's things that I think of at the moment, and I pop it up there. But people always sent me messages, and they were like, it's so inspirational, and I needed that today, or I needed that, in my life. And so I said, why not put something, package it together and make it work, and we did. And it's now out in the ether, which was pretty awesome to do, because it's been a while since I put a book out, you know what I mean? And so I needed to do it. And like one of them here, just luck is only a myth, believe only in your hustle. You know what I'm saying? Just
nice
little things like that it resonates with people. You know what I mean? Always remember, goals or dreams with deadlines, set them and reach them often. Stuff like that. Like people need that motivation. And it's a little coffee table book. It's very Brimish, with my style and my look, and it's doing well, knock on wood, thank goodness. So but that's it's one of the things that has been going on, that I've been working hard on.
Yeah, I just love. I always call Brim like he is the Renaissance man. You know what I mean? Like just the guy who's kind of like all things to everybody. You know what I mean? And always has his yeah. Is that the candy bar?
That's the candy bar from Sweet Hollywood.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And then I've got one of my favorite pictures right here.
Oh
right?
Yes.
Always behind me.
Wow, look at that.
That was from the I think that was from Ohio, the bad one.
Oh yeah. So Brim and I have been to a lot of Comic-Cons together, and some of them were amazing, and some of them were like not so good. You know what I mean? One Comic-Con we were at was somewhere in Ohio. And I think it was, let's see, who was there? Like C. Thomas Howell was there. Lori Petty was there. You, myself. I can't remember who else was there.
Zach Ward. Zach Ward from from Christmas Story. Yeah.
Christmas Story. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there was quite a few there.
There was 100. There were 100 guests, and there were about 2 actual fans that came. That's what happened.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. Like it was one of those ones where this promoter, I think they got in like way over their head, and realized they couldn't actually fund this convention the right way. And a bunch of us didn't get paid. And a bunch
Wow.
yeah, it was really bad.
It was one of those conventions where, you just have to sit back and just laugh, because, if you get angry about it, all it's going to do is ruin your world, and if you remember, it was like, I'm pretty sure it was Zach, and Zach was losing his marbles. Like he was done, and he was pissed off, and he was screaming, and he was yelling, and he was like, I'm going to leave, and blah, blah. And I said, Zach, stop. I said, just stop. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, listen, do you know where you are? He's like, well, we're in Ohio. Yeah, we're in nowhere, Ohio. I said, when's your flight out? It's not until Sunday or Monday or whatever it was. I'm like, right. What the hell else are you going to do for the next couple of days except for sit and stare at a wall? Like, just sit back. We're with friends. We're all friends. We're having a good time. We're spending time together. It is what it is. Enjoy the mini vacation. Because if you get all worked up about it and get bent out of shape, what's it going to be? It's going to be, you're going to be pissed off. You're going to have a freaking aneurysm, and nobody's going to be happy. So, you make the best of it. So we had a good time. We went to the bar, and we hanging out. It was Steve, Lori, and C. Thomas and I, and I'm pretty sure that was, and Zach, and we were all just kind of hanging around and just chilling and drinking and partying a little bit, and that was fun, man. It was even though it was a crappy situation, you got to take the crap and you got to make it into a positive situation. So yeah, it sucks. We all lost money that weekend, but you get you at least have a good time with it,
So. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, like sometimes though, good friendships are born in those kinds of situations though, where you're like stuck in a bad situation together, and you come together because of a common, like whatever, a common hate for somebody else. Yeah, it's pretty fun, man. It's cool though. But yeah, so Brim and I, man, since 2013, Brim and I have been going to cons and hanging out together and have been friends for the longest time. So it's always good, Brim always has such a positive attitude too, which sometimes, can be good as well, because it's all about perspective, and you have to put a positive perspective on things sometimes. So
yeah,
that's awesome, man.
It's always important to try to put the positive spin on it. You could be in the worst crap position ever, but if you just try to find the light in the darkness, because otherwise all you're doing is hurting yourself. You're hurting your own energy, and you gotta, that's we don't need that. We've got enough crap going on in the world at every given point in time, especially nowadays, that we we don't need that dark. Let's put more light into the situation. So that's what it comes
light
down
up to. The darkness.
and I come from the dark, so that's a for me to say that,
yeah.
But anyways, no, so it's been a long time, and one of my favorite memories of Cardenas and I was at not Carnegie Deli, Katz's Deli. Was that Katz's Deli?
Oh no, Cantor's
Deli
in West Hollywood, man. Yeah.
He goes, Brim, we're going to this place and you're gonna absolutely love it. He's talking it up, and he's like, you don't know, they got the best deli sandwiches ever. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So we go, and we're there, and we're just hanging out. We're sitting. What was the you're talking about the waiter?
No, I'm talking about just the fact that deli is like one of the most famous delis in Los Angeles.
Yeah, no, and I hadn't been there, so I was like, this is cool, and we're sitting there and we're just BSing and just catching up and spending time, and the waiter comes over, and correct me if I'm wrong, he takes his 8x10 and slides it onto the table. Do you remember that? You got to remember that he slid it to us with his contact information on it, his headshot, his 8x10, his headshot.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you didn't
really like maybe he thought we could do something for him.
I was like, he didn't really do that, did he? Like, really? And I don't know if he necessarily knew who we were, or he just heard us talking about, the business or whatever it was. But I found it very amusing, and I was like, yep, we're definitely near LA. or in LA, wherever we were.
Definitely in LA for sure.
But Steve he's the best guide. Like he took me around the entire area. He showed me where Beverly Hills Cop was filmed, and he showed me this and that and the next thing. And he's like, and this over here was like one of the best guides. So if for some reason entertainment didn't work, he could have actually been one of those guides that's on the buses saying, oh, this over
I
here.
could have been a tour guide Hollywood Boulevard, right? Driving big double-decker buses there.
Yeah, that's what we should do.
People's homes.
When we're all ready to retire, we should just go and we should all invest and do it together. And then we'll just be like, I'll handle New York, you could handle LA. What do you call it? We got it good. It'll work out.
Ridiculous.
So yeah, very cool.
So Brim, don't want to get too much into it, but can you tell us a little bit about your beginnings? Like how'd you get into? I mean, you have a ginormous resume of things that you've done, man. So tell us. I know Steve, you and Steve have obviously the stories, which we're gonna get a little bit into. So just to give a little bit light to anyone that's just joining the chat room. By the way, the chat room is live. Everyone's here saying hello.
Yeah,
they love
Brimstone.
They love your energy, by the way.
Thank
love
you.
Your energy.
I can't see any chat. So what do you call it? If there's any questions, just let me know.
Yeah. So if there's any questions for Brim that you guys may have, we'll ask them a little later in the show. But one of the big questions I have is you obviously have a ginormous resume, as I mentioned before. So tell us a little bit how you got started in the business. You know, it's not an easy business to get into, but you have cemented your legacy in it. I know you said earlier you did a little bit of professional wrestling, and then you moved over into films and comics and food, and oh my God, like the list is on us. So tell us a little bit. You don't have to get in depth into it, but just start, I guess, with the wrestling. Is that where you started with wrestling?
No, I've been in entertainment since I'm 5. So I'd already been there, done that, when I was, young. And so I started out, my career was, I was a child actor. My mother used to bring me in and out of Manhattan all the time because I'm on Long Island. So what do you call it? My mother would bring me back and forth to different auditions. And I wound up getting a position. I was doing the child acting thing on Sesame Street and Romper Room. And what do you call it? You're talking about, that was when I was 5. And now I'm, oh my God, I'm 46. I'm getting old. So what do you call it? So I've been in the entertainment industry for a very, very long time. My first love was comic books. And I wanted to be a famous, what do you call it, artist. And I used to draw, and albeit I was good, I wound up, what do you call it, finding my real true love, which was girls. No, that is true, but what do you call it, which was music. What do you call it? And I was a drummer. So I actually became a drummer, and I put the art thing on the side, and I still drew, but it wasn't like the guys do nowadays. And what do you call it? But I always loved comics. I loved the whole superhero aspect, and that comes back in later on. So, I fell in love with drumming, and, I did everything from the school band to marching band. And when I went to college, I went for music, and I wound up not finishing in college because I was going out on tour playing. So I was a touring musician and so forth for many years. I wound up getting sick of being in a 5-way marriage, and I wound up getting into professional wrestling. Little did I know that was going to kind of launch me to, the next level of things that I'd be doing. But it kind of happened by accident. I was working at the time. I don't know if anybody knows what the Village Voice is, but the Village Voice is a very, very big publication in Manhattan. And what do you call it? They had opened up a pet project, which was the Long Island Voice, which was the owner of the Village Voice's daughter. So she, was running this Long Island Voice, and she said, and I wound up going there because at the time I was a musician and I could sell. I have a background in advertising, sales, and so forth. So, I wound up being, top salesperson over there, and I was handling all the bars and clubs. Why? Because I already knew all the bars and clubs because I played at all the bars and clubs. So I had a very good shoe into that business and that industry. And, but even back then I had my hands in a bunch of different cookie jars. So the people, the powers that were at that time, knew that there was a wrestling convention that was taking place at a local Knights of Columbus, and
Mhm.
what do you call it? They were going to send Bill Jensen, who's the reporter, he's a sports reporter that was there, and his father was actually a Major League Baseball player in the whole 9 yards. So we got along real well, but usually we didn't spend too much time with each other. They said, well, we know you like to do photography, because I used to, do some photography also. Do you think you could do us a favor? We don't have a published photographer, by the way. So there you go. But what do you call it? They asked me if I would mind going and taking photos for the story, because they didn't have any photographers available for the weekend. They were on other jobs. So I was like, yeah, sure. They were paying me. I was like, no problem. They're like, we know you like wrestling. I was like, absolutely. So I went
Mm.
down, and what do you call it? We're BSing, and I'm sitting there taking pictures while Bill's doing his job, which I wound up meeting a lot of people that I'd be very good friends with later on in later years. Bill from Demolition, and what do you
Oh,
call it?
nice.
Sonny, and just a bunch of different people. And what do you call it? When we were there, and Sheiky, so Iron Sheik, and I started talking, and the Sheik said in old school Sheik fashion, "You looking like you could be a wrestler," and I'm like, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I was young and dumb at the time anyway. And I was kind of just, listening to what he was saying. And I was like, I always liked wrestling. I was the guy who used to toss people around at the house parties and stuff like that. So, he's sitting and talking to me. He's like, hey, you could be a wrestler. I take you, I train you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And
That's dope.
I was like, all right, that's cool. And then his agent at the time, which has been on and off with him over the years. And I don't know if you know him, Steve, Eric Snapshot Sims. You know Eric?
I
He
don't think
handles a
so.
lot of workers, a lot of the wrestlers. And what do you call it? So Snapshot came over, and he's like, oh, I got somebody hot over here. So he's like, yeah. So he started talking money. Yeah, you can either ship Sheiky out here, and you could train you here. You could fly out to Georgia, and you could train out in Georgia. I'm like, whoa, calm down, hold on a minute. This was a casual conversation. It's turning into like a work. In wrestle speak, it's working the person you're speaking with, or working the crowd. And what do you call it? So I'm sitting and having this conversation, and Bret Hart actually overheard my
Wow.
conversation with Sheik, and he pulls me to the side because he was leaving, and he said to me, he goes, look, if you're really interested in getting involved in the business, what do you call it? Here's my email address. It was an old school AOL address. What do you call it? Shoot me an email, and I'll try to guide you as best I can to tell you what to look for and what to not look for. Now, I never heard of anybody doing something like that. Well, in terms of Bret Hart, I never heard of Bret Hart doing something like that. And again, at that time, I wasn't in the business, so I took him up on it. I wound up seeing in a wrestling magazine that they were opening up a school called the Doghouse, the Long Island Wrestling Federation, in Queens. What do you call it? Here in New York, and which eventually moved to Brooklyn. But they were opening up the school, and you had guys that were, very cemented in the business even back then, but they were still getting their bearings, like Low Key, Homicide. What do you call it?
Wow.
People like that. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's go check this out. I sent it to him. He told me what to look for. I went there, and the rest is kind of history. What do you call it? I walked in, Bobby Lombardi, the owner of the Doghouse. We walked in. He goes, so you want to be a wrestler, huh? And we're like, sure, yeah, and we were the Doghouse originals. So I am one of the Doghouse originals, and the Doghouse put out a tremendous amount of big name talent, who they've just hard hitting, fast moving, players. And you've got some amazing guys out there and gals who came out of Doghouse. And again, the rest is history. I've worked everywhere in the world. I've gotten a lot of all the acronyms you could think of. You know what I mean? I've worked there at one time or another, more or
Right.
less. And
Right.
it's been it was a really awesome road, and but everything, sometimes it's time for it to come to an end, and you have to make a decision. Do you want to continue, or do you not want to continue? And at the time when I made the decision, I said, you know what, I don't want to be 60, 70 years old still trying to bump around in a ring. I need to do something more. I need to do something better, which is when the comic books came in. And I'll stop because Steve knows I could talk forever, and I don't want to miss you know what I mean. I don't want to
No,
overshoot.
okay, bro. This is why we have you on here, man. We want everybody that to get to know you, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm listening to the stories. I didn't know all this stuff myself, so it's all good, man. No, keep going. So
now
from
you
there,
do.
it went into you started doing the comic books.
Yeah. What do you call it? And funny enough, fun fact: the show that we met at in San Antonio was the first time that I'd seen Bret Hart since that original meeting. So
Oh, right.
I had the opportunity to go up to Bret, and I knew he was not going to remember me, and our paths never crossed in the business. What do you call it? But I went up to him, and I actually had the opportunity to thank him for helping, for guiding me at that point. I said, you're probably never going to remember, but if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be standing here right now.
Wow.
So so it was a very cool thing.
That show, actually, that was the first time that I got to see Timok, who we also had on the show a while back.
Yep.
That was the first time I ever met Timok, and I went up to him and told him the same thing. I'm like, dude, you were one of the reasons I got into martial arts. And blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for watching your movie every single day after school, kind of thing,
I love Ty. He's a big kid. Ty's a big kid.
Yeah, Timok, he's great.
Good guy. So for me, if you want to get back to that other stuff, like everything for me is like natural progression. What's the next natural progression to this? What's the next natural progression to that? So people always ask me, well, why'd you do this? Or well, because it was the next natural progression. And in terms of pro wrestling, what are pro wrestlers considered? If you're looking at them, take everything, take reality out of it, and just look at them. What are professional wrestlers? Essentially, they're superheroes, right? Pro wrestlers are considered real live superheroes. They high fly and big hits, and there's the good guys, the bad guys, the heels and the faces. You know what I mean? There's so much going on. There's the drama, and there's stories. So I said, well, what's the next natural progression of pro wrestling? Well, there's movies, which yes, I do to get into and started doing. I'm doing more now than I was then. Right. But there's movies, and then there's comic books. So what do you call it? The comic book route. I was like, well, I'm an old school, wrestler. I'm a gimmick guy. What do you call it? If you didn't know before, you know now. Brimstone is a gimmick. And I'm not really a man from hell. I'm Jewish. We don't believe in hell, which is really funny. What do you call it? And it's funny because like I had a rabbi actually come up to me once and say, "But you're Jewish. We don't believe in hell." I said, "Aha." And they loved it. But what do you call it? So it's one of those things where some people can't separate the fact that I'm not a bad guy. I'm a nice guy. I'm fun. I smile a lot. And the Brimstone character though is a dark character, and I was able to take that, and I knew the gimmick, I knew the storyline. I was able to take that and wrap it into a comic book. And so I called one of my buddies, Marcello Carnevale, and he's a writer by trade. He does screenwriting and all that jazz, and he's very good at it. And I said, listen, I want to meet for coffee, and I want to talk to you about doing a comic. So he's like, sure, let's do it. So we went and we sat down, which should have been like an hour cup of coffee. Instead, we were there for about 3-4 hours, and we wrote the entire Bible for what was then to become Brimstone and the Border Hounds. And what do you call it? The comic book was extremely successful. What do you call it? It's based on the pro wrestling character, has nothing to do with pro wrestling. My old artist, Sajad Shah, who was another one of my partners, Sajad, always kind of put in like little Easter eggs. So like you'll see like my old finishing moves of Bulba. You see like the form in some of the pictures, or a spear. You know what I mean? Which was
in a sense, it was like your character Brimstone, who was a wrestler, gets caught up in somehow like sort of like maybe like Flash Gordon, like Flash Gordon, how Flash Gordon was a football player, then he gets taken up into space.
This had nothing to do with wrestling at all. Like so Brimstone was actually a guy from hell, which what do you call it? But everybody was expecting it to be like what you said, where everybody's like, where it's a wrestler. Brimstone is the son of the, what do you call it, of the devil himself, which is considered his name is the Architect, which actually, fun fact, it was based on our old friend Peter Mayhew, what do you call it, who's Chewbacca from Star Wars.
Wow.
And he was actually supposed to voice the father in the what do you call it, animated series. So what do you call it? Yeah, and rest in peace. I miss Peter every day. But what do you call that being
Yeah,
said?
also from Dallas as
Um,
well too. Lived in
yeah,
Dallas.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, no. So okay, so the Brimstone character, it had the traits. Of course, I was a lot more jacked and better looking in the comic. That being said, but it had a lot of traits of the gimmick. You know what I mean? Where yes, he was kind of like the Guardian of Hell, but instead he was what do you call it? The Border Hounds in general are are different units who are they basically patrol the wastelands of hell, and they pick up what we call weepers, and weepers are lost souls. So there's a lot of stuff that goes in there, and I don't want to bore you guys with the whole storyline behind it, and I haven't done that pitch in a long time anyway. But but essentially, it's a really cool story, and what do you call it? We flipped it into this comic, and it blew up. Which, knock on wood, thank God, it was a really cool thing, and we launched it at I don't know if anybody out there is old enough to remember, but we launched it in Borders Books.
Oh wow,
And that
Borders.
was a big deal for an independently owned and operated comic book. And what do you call it? We called ourselves Hound Comics, but we weren't a publishing company yet. So what do you call it? So we did the what do you call it? We did the first book, and we launched in Borders, and then Borders started closing their shops. So we pulled from all the Borders books, and then we re-released in Barnes & Noble worldwide. So we wound up going into Barnes & Noble and B. Dalton's, which are now kind of slowly closing down too, because bookstores are not necessarily doing as well as they used to. However, we were the only independently owned and operated comic in every single one of these
Wow.
places. So it was Marvel, DC, what do you call Image, and us, and some, and Dark Horse at most of them. And so I wanted to show how big my thing was, basically what it was, and I had to kind of get out there and be like, hey, hi, I'm here, and we did that, and it was very impressive, and people were like, it opened people's eyes. And we stayed there for a few issues in Barnes and Noble, but it got to be so costly, and there was a lot of waste because they were ordering these astronomical numbers, and which is why, I'm very careful with what I do with like Walmarts and stuff. But what do you call it? They were these astronomical numbers they were asking for, and anything that didn't sell, anything that didn't move, and of course, any publication, whether it's magazines, books, what do you call it? Paper, newspapers, what comics, they don't always sell. You're not selling every single issue that you print out. So that being said, whatever was over, whether it was 100 books or 100,000 books, okay, they wouldn't return it to me. So if they would return it to me, I'd either be able to, reutilize them, stock up other places, give them out. One of the things I said to them was, hey, send them back to me. If you need to rip the covers off for credit, that's fine. I can either have them recovered, or better yet, why don't we do this? Let's take all the books that don't sell. I don't care how many they are, and we'll ship them to the military overseas and
Oh,
give them something
smart.
to read. You know what I mean? Let's do something good, because I'm always, as Steve will tell you, I'm always trying to do charitable things and so forth. They wouldn't do it. Barnes and Noble wouldn't do it, and I said, you know what? Then it's too much of a waste to be sending these to you, and I'm offering an
Wow.
alternative that's a good cause. You know what I mean? That it'll give them something, positive. And
Yeah.
again, they were like, well, we're not going to do that. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm done. So I canceled the contract, and I stopped going through Barnes and Noble. But I was already at like issues 6, 7, 8, something like that when I pulled. Um,
Right.
and it's a sad thing, but again, I only went in there to to make a splash anyway. And that's that. So Brimstone of the Border House is a really cool thing, and it did a lot of really wonderful things for me. It opened up doors, because again, I wasn't touring at that time. I
Right.
wasn't doing much, and I was like, if I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna be touring again, there were multiple things. I said that, I told at the time my director of operations, Aton Wish, great guy. I don't know if you ever met Aton, Steve, but what do you call it? He's a great kid. And I said to him, I go, look, if I'm going to go on tour again, You know, I don't want to do the same old planes, trains, automobiles, and never seen the outside of a stadium or the outside of a, of a convention center. I said, I want to see, what's around. And that's when we started doing the food series. I said, I love foodie stuff. I love food, and we wound up doing the food series, Food Down Tidbits. So like I said, everything kind of goes into each other. And what do you call it? Then the sauce and seasonings came from the food, and the candy came from the food, and the comic, and everything that was in real life you can also see in the comic, and everything in the
Right.
comic you can see in real life. So the awesome sauce, the sweet heat treat, the flavor behavior burgers, all that stuff, those were all real sauces and seasonings. So you saw them in the comic book, but then you could get them in real life. And in real life, if you didn't know about the comic book, then you find out, oh wait, those are actually from a comic book. Same thing with my candy, the Grub Munchies and stuff like that. They were all from the bar that we called Heaven in the Middle of Hell, complete with Stairway. Get it? Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, I
Right.
like that.
So what do you call it? Anyway, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but just trying to.
No, that's great, man. That's like
Yeah.
as I mentioned, like I've been following you for a long time. And good on you trying to send that stuff overseas. I'm a retired Marine, so
Well, thank you for serving.
thank you. So I know us out there, we needed a lot of stuff to kind of keep us going, and comic books and Maxim back in the day and all of that stuff was definitely. I don't know if you remember Maxim.
Some FHM.
Maxim, FHM. Yeah, you remember that? Oh my god.
Remember Stuff Magazine.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about. Those are the best. My
Yeah.
wife found my old collection of those at my mother's old house, and she's looking and she goes, all right.
Yeah,
I said, it's
exactly,
reading
yeah.
material. It's not like I was reading Playboys. I was reading Stuff Magazine. There was a
Yeah,
lot of good
Stuff.
articles in there, right?
Yeah, for sure. So yes, I've been definitely
Article.
seeing articles. Yeah, I've been definitely seeing a lot of the stuff that you've been doing throughout the years, which is pretty cool. And I had a question coming in from the crowd here, and give me a second, let me pull it back up. What did you dislike about the wrestling business? I believe that was the question that came in from Colbert Josh on the chat.
I don't hate the wrestling business. What do you call it? I actually love the wrestling business. I love the industry. I love, a good portion of the people. The problem is that, it just like any business or any world that you're living in terms of entertainment in general everyday life, there is there's the good people and there's the bad people, and there's when you're succeeding and you're doing things and you're you're working hard and so forth. Again, I'm a self-promoter. I'm always out there. I'm hustling, and people don't necessarily respect your hustle. So the thing that I dislike about it is the childish behavior, that is seen by a lot of different people, that, they're not necessarily able to do what you do. So instead of doing it themselves or trying to succeed, which they can do if they work on it, they sit and they knock you instead, and they talk smack and whatever. But look where I am now. If you would have done the same thing, you could have done it too. I'm nothing special.
And what about your least favorite part of the training was another question that came in.
Oh man. Well, listen, again, I come from the school of hard knocks. So, if you want to talk tough, like, and I had my school and I taught, many people, and I was hard on them, but I wasn't as hard as my teachers were on me. And you got to understand, that I had these guys that, well respected in the industry, but we were stiff. We were hardcore, hard hitting guys. And what do you call it? So we trained hard, man. What do you call it? You take, if you don't know who Low Key is, again, love him to death. If you what do you call it? If you have never seen him in a match, go look it up. Just picture training and taking those hits. You know what I mean? You become a dummy for a real life dummy. And what do you call it? But it toughens you up. And again, and I came from the street anyway. Like, I grew up in Uniondale, New York, here on the island, and I was the one of the only white kids, jumping around, and when we'd be in big gang fights, I'm the only white guy in there. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things where I was already tough. I already knew how to fight. But what do you call it? But wrestling is different. You're learning an art. And what do you call it? It was a lot of work. You're getting hit hard. So you'd come home and you'd be fully bruised up, and you'd be sore. And I guess the biggest thing, the worst things about pro wrestling, and you're gonna laugh at this. The things that are the worst are chops. Okay. Chops suck. What do you call it, until you get used to them, and running the ropes when you're first getting used to it sucks, because a rope, the ropes are not rope. It is a metal, piece of metal cord in there that's wrapped with tape multiple times. And so when you're digging into them, you're digging metal, I don't know what the hell it's called, but in some metal cordish type stuff, that's the cable, rather.
The cable,
that's digging into your sides. So, you leave with bruises that are legit, this big right under here. And that's if you're hitting them properly. You know what I mean? Like, there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. So the things that hurt most were at the beginning, at least, were chops and running ropes. And everything else, I mean, you learn how to fall. It's the same thing. Like, I'm sure Steve could tell you, in jujitsu and stuff like that, where you got to learn how to fall. You got to learn how to land. And, it's all a matter of doing it properly, so it all sucks. It all hurts until you know how to do it. So am I making sense?
No, yeah, 100%, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you, by any chance, now that you're into the entertainment business, any names that you could drop that you've worked with, or anything that you have worked in the past that you maybe guest starred in, that you were like in the background or whatever, like any big flick or even small flick that we just could go back and watch again and be like, there he is?
I will name drop Mr. Steve Cardenas. He's
I love it.
Yeah, but we weren't in any movies together.
I know, we should be doing a movie together. I'm like, I still think that we should all get together and do a flick together. That would be a fun thing. You know what I mean? Can you imagine you, Ray, and I in a flick together? That would be so much fun. I would absolutely enjoy the hell out of that. What do you call it? I will take a fall for you, Steve. I will fall. There you go.
Yeah, fun to make happen. But you got to talk to Alex about that. That's what Alex does. Alex produces stuff. So
Alex,
you guys got to get together afterwards and talk about all that kind of stuff.
Hey, listen,
we could make magic.
People in the chat room right now, throw some emotes up in the air if you want to see Steve star in a movie alongside Brimstone. And listen, I'm sorry, Brim, but you're gonna have to be the face here because Steve loves being a heel.
That's funny. I know, and he's such a sweetheart, right?
Right.
He's such a sweetheart.
He loves the heel characters.
See his dimples.
This is not true. This is not true. I don't love being the heel. I say when I'm watching something entertaining, you
like watching. Yes.
I generally tend to root for the bad guys, or I tend to like the bad guys' characters.
Yeah.
I would like to play some bad guys from time to time just for the fun of it, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't do like a hero role again. Absolutely, I would. You know what I mean? But for me, what I don't necessarily like to do is I don't necessarily want to be the guy who's carrying the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't mind if I'm a good guy or a bad guy, but put me more in like a supporting type of role. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to be the star of the movie or the show.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, I think a lot of character actors get to be a lot more diverse sometimes than, the hero of a movie. You know what I mean? The hero of the movies can be a little bit more one-dimensional than some of the people that are in the supporting cast, So I want to try to be a little bit more diverse. I played that hero character for so long that I would like to try to do some different stuff and be something a little different. That doesn't necessarily mean being the heel in any way.
Absolutely.
No, right.
The funny thing is we should totally do a like an Expendables type of movie, and we would have the coolest cast, and we would have so much fun, and none of us have to be the star. We all just co-star together. We don't need a Sylvester Stallone. We just do it all, and we'll make it work. And we could just steal some people from the movie too, because between you and I, we know some of them anyway. And but to answer your question from before, Alex, I just did with my buddy Robert Davi. what do you call it? So if you don't know who Robert is, he's from Goonies, he's from Expendables, he's from a whole bunch of different other movies. If you don't know the name, you know his face. And what do you call it? He had called me up and he's like, I need to get you in for a cameo for this movie. And I was like, I'm definitely in. And I shot over and we filmed it sometime last year. What do you call it? It's for Mott Haven. Cash for Keys is what it's called. So I went over there and I had some fun with some friends. And it was him, it was Chuck Zito, what do you call it? So they're like, no, what do you call it? This is we're gonna put you in, we're gonna have a scene, it's gonna be the three of us and some other characters. And so I was like, all right, cool. And I just did a quick little thing there, and so that was fun. What do you call it? I do a lot of cameos, and
Right.
I'd rather do some acting. I've got a really cool role coming up with it's called it's in a show called Seymour the Unfortunate Vampire. And I play Hagar in that. What do you call it? And I don't want to give too much away because nothing's really out with it yet. But
Right. Right.
the premiere just launched, and I'm waiting to put that out into the public. What do you call it? I'll send you the clip, Steve, so you can see it off air. But
Sure, sure.
it's really, really cool. And it's funny because I'm co-starring in the position I'm in with Kim from my show from the Grindhouse Radio. So she's actually in the show too. And what do you call it? A lot of really, really good players in that. I can't believe I'm just blanking out right now.
That's all good, man. I put you on the
my
spot. The
gosh.
hard questions,
Yeah. Yeah. No, you know what it is? Remember, I told you earlier, sometimes I'll have a cheat sheet because I have so many things going on. So if somebody
Yeah.
asks me something, I wanna be able to answer the question. But
No, of course.
sometimes there's just a lot. So
Right.
I can't
Yeah.
remember everything.
What is the big thing you wanted to talk about today? Like when I reached out and was like, hey, we should have you on the show, and you were like, oh yeah, I've got this. Like, yeah.
Yeah. The the book was one thing, Brimisms, what do you call it? So anybody who needs a pick me up, should check that out.
I love
And
that.
I have my new sauces coming out. So next week, I'm doing another brand new sauce. It is an ultra hot sauce. Anybody that's had my sauces in the past know I don't play games.
They're really good. Yeah.
They are
I've had
banging.
sauces. They are very good.
Yeah. So this one I'm doing, it's a collab with a company I've known since I got into the business. They were first starting. I'm talking about in the hot sauce business. And I originally was working with K. John's Fiery Foods. And they were John himself, the owner, who's like the godfather of hot sauce. He, what do you call it, was retiring. So he had to stop doing co-packing and stuff like that. So I had to switch co-packers, and that's why my sauce and seasoning hasn't been out for a while, because I wanted to make sure to go with the right company. And my time, as Steve knows, is slim to none. So I wound up going like repeatedly at conventions and so forth and appearances, like Torchbearer sauces. I had seen them, over and over and over again. And again, I watched them coming up while I was working with K. John's, and I always admired their labels, and their sauces are banging and good guys. And I'm like, you know what? We should do something together. They're like, we should do something together. And we just kept saying it and never did. And finally, the beginning of the year, I was like, all right, we're going to do this now. I'm going to make some time and I'm going to come out there, which is the same thing I did with K. John's. Like, I went there and we legitimately spent 4 or 5 days just working on all the products. And I wound up going to Pennsylvania from to visit Torchbearer sauces. And what happened was we came out with the most amazing ultra hot sauce. And what do you call it? Y'all know I'm the sauce boss. So what do you call it? Had to put out something good. So it's called Torched Stone Thai. And it's got like an Asian flavor to it. But it's, what do you call it? It's fruity, it's delicious, and then it's gonna beat the snot out of you with the heat after. So if you can't handle the heat, I'm sorry, it's not for you. But if you want something that's ultra hot that still has a ridiculous flavor to it, that's it. I mean, it's got some amazing flavor.
Well, maybe if you could be kind enough, you could send us a little sample, not a sample, but like like a couple of bottles or something like that. Because what we want to do is we want to give these away as part of our grand prize. Like, because what we do is we do a grand prize for our followers once a month, where we pick one winner. and then essentially everyone that we've had on as a guest that month, we give them like an autograph from that person,
Cool.
or a T-shirt from that person, or a hot sauce from that person, or whatever it is that. So if you could donate some of that stuff, we can give it out as grand prize giveaways over the month. So send us 2 bottles. That'd be dope.
I'll send that out. I'll get you some bottles. I'll get you some bottles. I'll get some books and comics.
Yeah, that'd be great. Send like a whole little care package. And then how can people order this stuff? Is it available to be able to be ordered right now as well? Because I know that you were switching vendors or something, or manufacturers or whatever.
That is so torchbearersauces.com, torchbearersauce.com. If you go there, I don't believe it's up on the website yet, but as of next week, it will be launched. And I will be making sure that everybody gets like a code, so this way they could save a couple of bucks on it and give it a shot. And again, and if you're a hot sauce lover, and you like heat, this also has scorpion pepper and Carolina Reaper. So what do you call it? When I tell you the Scoville, it's a hot sauce. So what do you call it? Yeah, but I'll get you guys some. I'll definitely get you. You're gonna. I don't know, Steve. I don't know if you can handle it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I probably couldn't handle it. I mean, I do like me some hot sauces for sure. But if they go a little crazy, I remember one time there was this bar in Dallas that had a little cheese pizza that had ghost pepper on it, and if you could eat the whole pizza, then your entire meal was free. Everything was free, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't even eat one slice. I couldn't even finish one slice of this little cheese pizza with that ghost pepper on it, man. I was like,
it's
dying.
Hot. It's hot.
It was bad.
The trick for anybody who does any kind of like hot eating contest, whether it's hot wings, hot pepper, any of that, the trick is to eat it as quickly as possible. Just eat it as quickly as possible, chew as little as possible, and and don't breathe. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start when you're doing this, it just sucks the air in and it just burns all the way down. So the quickest way to do it is just to eat fast. The wings, you take it and you suck them off. It's because I've hosted so many major like hot sauce festivals, hot sauce hot wing contests, you name it, and I've done it, and not only have I done like hosted them, I've done a couple in my time also, but I have a high tolerance for the heat. So it doesn't affect me as much, but it still affects me. You know what I mean? I still get that burn. And this one, and the thing with
dude, what's that one YouTube channel where
Wings.
Hot Wings.
Hot Ones, yeah. Hot Ones.
Is that what it's called? Hot Ones? Where and famous actors on eat, and they keep going up on the levels of hotness. You should do that, Brim, on Grindhouse.
I want to.
You should bring your guest on and have them eat some hot wings or your different hot sauces and see which one they can stand. Yeah,
that's funny.
From mild to hot.
Well, technically, so the Torchbearer sauce is funny you brought up Hot Ones. Their product is actually featured on Hot Ones, the show. So so hopefully, if all goes well, the Torched Stone Tie will also be on Hot Ones because, like I said, we're pretty damn hot. So it's gonna be awesome.
So it's that hot.
Awesome. Yeah,
they said just put the toilet paper in the freezer and you'll be fine.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you. It's not bad going in, coming out. You're gonna feel it. But another thing that I definitely want to push and promote.
That's one of the main reasons I don't like to eat those hot sauces, those 2 hot ones, because of the next day. That's the worst for me.
It's true. It's like, true.
Brutal.
But it makes for good conversation because pooping is funny. You know what I mean? Pooping is funny. That's what it is.
Not funny when you've had that hot of a hot sauce. Not funny at all.
Well, what do you call it? I don't know, man. I have absolutely, I've always loved hot foods.
Dude, let's make a hot sauce. We'll call it the Red Ranger.
The Red Ranger. So do one. You want to do one?
No, not the Red Ranger. Not the Red Ranger. The Red Rager.
The Red Rager. Oh. Wow. I don't know.
And just make it like really, really hot.
Just hot for being hot. Just give it like.
And we'll have like a Tyrannosaurus breathing fire out.
That's funny.
I'll hook you up with the guys. I'll hook you up with the guys next time you're in back in the States. That's what you got to do. You got to do I'm telling you, Steve, you need to have some Steve Cardenas products, son. That's what you need. Because
no.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I got a few things,
I know,
and whatnot, you know.
But hey, a hot sauce. Let me tell you.
I have a store. I'm working on a store. I'm working on an online store right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be called Rocky's Shop.
Oh, nice.
So you're gonna have some cool stuff on there.
Shop. So, and we're gonna start getting some stuff. We're working on getting products that we can have on there, specifically not just 8x10s to get signed, but like custom made pieces like coins, custom made pieces like the gems, custom made, busts, things like that. I wanted people to get the experience of getting these really cool custom made things,
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of really cool people.
We'll launch the Red Ranger hot sauce on
there. You go. That's pretty fun. I think it should be done. What do you call it? You got to work with somebody that you can. Where would you ship from? You shipping from the UK or shipping from here?
I would have it all be manufactured there and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and be shipped from there and everything.
It's always shipping to the other countries is the difficult part. That's always the biggest issue. But
no, I wouldn't develop out here or anything. I'd have it developed over there.
In the States. What do you call it? The other thing that I wanted to definitely mention is, and it's not out yet, but it is in final stages of production. Finally, is Preacher 6, and that's the movie. It's that I am super excited for it to launch because it's first of all, it's got so many cool people in it, and it is I play a really cool role in it. Matter of fact, the reason why I haven't been in a good portion of the previews and so forth are because the scenes that I'm in are very pivotal within the movie, so they have to be careful of what they're using, which is it's pretty cool. So I'm psyched about that. What do you call it? I am in a very big scene. It's myself and Naomi Grossman from American Horror Story. What do you call it? And Zach Galligan is in it from Gremlins, and just Carmen Argenziano was in it. He just passed away. He was from what do you call it, the Godfather movies, and so like there's a lot of really cool players in the movie. Eileen Gruba, Peter Murnick, Lawrence Chow, so people that have been in the business for a long time and have done a lot of cool things. So it was a lot of fun, and I get to play.
We lost everybody. Yeah, or maybe I'm the one that's frozen.
No, I think you're the. No, I think no, you're frozen. You're frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen. Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, it's a very fun movie. What do you call it? And again, I've been in a bunch of different movies like Fashionista and Killer Hoo Ha. What do you call it? With a bunch of people, and I've done a lot of really fun things. Yeah, I was also in what do you call it? I did a cameo for our buddy Lloyd Kaufman for the new Troma film Shakespeare's Shitstorm. So
yeah,
I'm sorry if I wasn't allowed to curse. I'm sorry. It's
no, you're fine. No, you're good.
It's part of the name.
I know Troma very well.
How dare you curse on our show?
Yeah,
Brimstone.
how dare you?
I'm sorry. Well, you know me. I'm usually clean.
How fucking dare you?
That's messed up. But yeah, no. So I did that. What do you call it? And that was a lot of fun. And again, I've got some films that I can't talk about that I'm doing coming up once lockdown ends, and I'm really excited about that. Now on the flip side, I'm doing a lot of really cool stuff with voiceover work. So like that has been something that especially throughout quarantine, I'm still able to do because I have my whole studio. So I'm doing stuff with
nice.
What do you call it? There's a show called Donut Baby, which is it's funny as all sin. It's myself. We've got it's Greg Sipes. If you don't know who Greg Sipes is, that's Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go. What do you call it? Ton of cool people in that. I do the character Game Day and the show The Weaklings, which is a YouTube show, millions of hits. It's fantastic cartoon. I've done L Cartoons, which is another big YouTuber. And what do you call it? I've got two very big things that are happening for a major network I cannot talk about, but I can give you that much. And I think I told Steve about them. Two of them for the same network, and then the Donut Baby one's supposed to be with Viacom. So that's another
nice
big one. So,
Nice.
just a lot of really cool things. I got some video games, and doing voice work for that. And, just trying to stay busy, man, because, quarantine sucks. And, and what do you call it? And I'm doing a lot of the commercial work also because, doing a lot of voice work for commercials and like Kikoman, which is a very big sponsor of mine for the Grindhouse Radio. They also
Kikoman soy sauce.
yes. So Kikoman actually has me do every one of their commercials for external as well. So they don't just utilize us to advertise and sponsor us on the Grindhouse Radio, but they're also our I'm their go-to to do all of their ads for other streaming sources like Pandora and so forth. So anything Kikoman that you hear on any of those are usually myself and the cohorts on the Grindhouse Radio. So
Nice, man. So
Nice.
we had this has been an incredible day for me because like I told you before, I followed you in your career for a long time, so it's really cool. Like I'm always excited when Steve decides to call one of his buds, and I'm like, oh shit, I've been following. I'm a child at heart, and I've been watching Steve since I was a child. So this is all just one big pot of my childhood, and my inner child jumping up and down for joy every time I not to sound like a homer, but every time I see Steve, but I have a lot of found respect for him and for everyone that he knows, his friends that are in the business that come on here. So really quickly, man, the hour came and went by so quick. Can you let everybody know where they can find you and follow you so that we could, especially your Twitch, because we're about to get that started for you as well.
Well, we can always find me www.understevecardinas'sbed.com.org.net. No, what do you call it? What do you call it? Yeah, we didn't get into any of those fun stories, Steve. We say that for another time. What do you call it? Don't worry. All our secrets are safe with us. That's a positive. But no, you can catch me.
Us and our 600 followers.
Yeah. What do you call it? My official website, therealbrimstone.com. What do you call it? I just rebranded the entire website over the last couple of months. I relaunched and what do you call it? So you can find me there and you can pretty much see almost everything that I've done. There's clips, there's voice work, there's you name it. I even have from back in my music days, I've got music videos up there that if you were curious of hearing some of my old drumming and stuff like that, you can catch that there too. What do you call it in terms of Insta, what do you call it in terms of social media? I'm very, very, very active on Instagram at The Real Brimstone. What do you call it? Please follow me there. Just comment. If I can't tell people more than I already say, but the fact is I love to be engaged and I love engaging with people. So if you guys drop a comment, I'm going to respond to you. Unless you're disrespectful, then we got a whole nother story. But you get thousands of likes or hundreds of likes or whatever, or people are viewing and then they forget to say something. Talk to me because I want to have that conversation with you.
Right.
So please at The Real Brimstone on Instagram. If you like anything, please drop a comment also. Everything though, it's right up on my official website, right up at the top, from IMDb to what do you call it, Giphy. If you guys use any kind of social media, I'm sure that you've probably come across a Brimstone GIF here or there. What do you call it? But our GIFs have been used over almost 900 million times. So
damn.
If you go to what do you call it, the anything you put in at GHR or Brimstone or Got Brim or anything like that, you can use a ton of Brimstone GIFs in any of your social media. Or you can go to giphy.com/GHR and get a whole bunch of them there. There's actually some Steve and I on there. So what do you call it? Which have been used a tremendous amount of times. And matter of fact, it's from when you and I were Talking Dead. What do you call it? The Talking Dead? When we're sitting at the Talking Dead, there's actually
that's right, because we were in the audience of the Walking Dead show, the one where they talk about the Walking Dead afterward. What's it called? The Talking Dead. Yeah.
The Talking Dead.
Yeah.
With,
nice. I didn't know that.
What's his name again? The guy
Chris
who
Hardwick.
Chris Hardwick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, so there's a video from that. But again, like I said, if you want to hear me, I know I can get boring, but what do you call it? Every Thursday night is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the Grindhouse Radio. Also, the grindhouseradio.com. You can hear Steve has been on a plethora of times. What do you call it? Go to our guest list page. You'll see all the people that we've had on, and we've got a lot of really cool people coming on in the next coming weeks. What do you call it? But also, we just launched our store, on the grindhouseradio.com. So if you guys want to head over there, support, we got a deal going on. What do you call it? Right now for the next 2 weeks, if you use Gouda Deal 2020, you're saving $10 off. What do you call it? Over $50.
Nice.
$10 off a $50 deal, and we're doing free shipping over $100. So
very nice.
But there's a lot of really cool stuff, and that's about it, man. I mean, I could go on, but I'm gonna stop because
no, thank you.
Get
I
everything
appreciate
on my
it.
official site. So
thank you, and as far as
seriously, Brent, as always, man, it's such a pleasure. I mean, one thing I've loved about Brim is that he was the one that taught me like how to just go for stuff and get stuff. You know what I mean? Like most people will never believe that you could get your own thing published, or you could get your own, candy bar inside a national chain candy bar place, or you could get this, or you can say, you know what I mean? Like he always just goes for it. You know what I mean? So I've always appreciated that about Brim, and that's very inspirational, motivational. It's taught me a lot about how to go for things that you want as well too. So don't let the magnitude of some type of organization or something be an obstacle for you to be able to think that you can't get in with them. You know what I mean? Because Brimstone has taught me that you can get in with them. You know what I mean? Like you wanna license something for Hasbro, you just go in and you can make it happen. You know what I mean? Like you want to license something at Toys R Us, you can make that happen. You know what I mean? Like Brimstone has taught me that for sure. So anyway, all kinds of best of luck to you, Brim. Thank you for joining us. I'm gonna let Alex take us out on this one, brother.
And Twitch, Real Brimstone on Twitch. Real Brimstone on Twitch. There we go. Almost.
Yeah, there you go.
Brimstone on Twitch. Make sure. Yeah, when is that coming up?
I set it up. I was going to wait until I got about 100 followers on there, and then I'm going to start doing some stuff. So I'm not anywhere near there yet. So if anybody can help me,
we'll get you there for sure.
I promise you that I will entertain the hell out of you. I will make sure Steve comes on, and we're gonna play some games. Even if you're not playing, you'll talk. And I'm gonna have Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario and Luigi. Him and I are gonna be playing some Mario Kart and all that jazz. The people from Red Dead Redemption, my good friends with all those cats. I'm gonna make them come on and play with me. So make sure you follow and spread the word. We're going to have a good time. I promise you. And then we'll play Among Us. All of us will play Among Us.
Yes, sir. That's a great game. So everyone, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Thank you for everyone who resubscribed and followed here on the show. Once again, we're going to be here every single Tuesday afternoon at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. UK, and 9 a.m. West Coast Time. On behalf of myself, Steve, Brimstone, may the power protect you, and stay safe, guys. See ya.